All right, folks. Looks like it's finally working. YouTube's having a couple of hiccups tonight. So I am trying my best to get us up and running. Let me know if you got me out there, and I'll just get into my notes. Again, this is a show that is me talking about what I'm seeing out there, my notes from the game. We'll do the Q&A tomorrow night like normal. So tonight we'll just go through what this win means and what I saw going away. So what's up, everybody? See a lot of friendly faces, a lot of names that I recognize. Hope you guys are doing good. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me pretty well. If there's any problems with the feed, okay? I'm gonna break this chat out real quick so that I can answer stuff if we need to. Not going to be a huge Q&A. Again, going to just talk about the game and what my takeaways were. Tomorrow night, regular Q&A. So that said, tonight's beer, Anchor Steam. Great California common out of San Francisco. And if you happen to like beer, I put out a big video today on the craft beer podcast on the podcast channel. A lot of production in that. Took me quite a bit. So please check that out. Tell your friends that like craft beer. Check those out too. And I have an upcoming interview with the brewmaster at Anchor Steam, at Anchor Brewing. So look for that as well. So, okay, hold on. If I need to kick somebody, you all let me know. I'm seeing some things that are showing warning signs. Big takeaway. It was a tough order to not have to have somebody that the Raiders had to game plan against in the position for Tyreek Hill. So I expected somebody to step up. It looked to me like the Raiders were concentrating on trying to put things in the way of progress for Sammy Watkins, and that's great. Good for them. And this is what has to happen. Demarcus Robinson went off. Way more so than I expected him to. In fact, we just finished recording the Locked On Chiefs podcast. If you don't listen to that already, check that out. Me and my co-host, Chris Clark, back and forth. Sometimes very different takes on players, on things, but a great conversation. And we really dig into the details. We've been hard on Demarcus Robinson, to tell you the truth, because he's never done this before. This is his first really breakout. I know he had that game, and I was there for that game to end last season against the Raiders, in which he kind of, got that huge play, long touchdown. I think it was 89 yards. That was his career high in yardage until today. So that tells you just how he hasn't quite broken out. He's made some big plays along the way, especially on some of the things that you saw today when Mahomes is kind of moving around, ad-libbing. Robinson took advantage today of one blown coverage. His first TD was a mistake on the Raiders' part, but he took advantage of it. More power to him, and Mahomes hit him real nicely. That's not the thing that really impressed me, though. Yes, that was a nice play, and he made a couple of other catches. He ended up on a perfect day, 6 catches on 6 targets. Never have we seen him do anything close to that. He's always been about a 50 to 60% catch guy. So big step forward for him. But here's the big thing. That touchdown, the second touchdown in the end zone over the defender that he just had to go get. Clearly, Pat Mahomes looks like he's not able to really drive off that back foot and step up into it and really deliver the ball the way that he usually does. These throws today were all arm and wrist. And that little whip that he gets going really paid off for him. And I think that's a credit to Pat Mahomes. It's a credit for trying to keep doing that. But Demarcus Robinson made that play. That ball was a little underthrown, or it was thrown to be an outside shoulder right there at the pylon. And Demarcus Robinson went up and beat his guy, beat him badly, and did his job. So, hey, is it 100% redemption for Demarcus Robinson? No, not in my eyes. We need to see him do it more important, more consistently. But here's the thing. There was a play called back for Mecole Hardman. Hardman had a really nice touchdown. He would have had another second one had that play not been called back. So then you get 172 from Demarcus and 130 from Mecole. Hey, you're in business. It's one of these deals that, man, whoever can step up, whoever they don't guard against the most is the guy that has to do it. Travis Kelce had a great day. He looked a little bit quicker, a little more comfortable than he did last week for me. I'm seeing a lot of these comments get busted down by the filters. So hold on a second. You guys tell me, Aaron, Jerry, anybody that I need to kick? I'm not able to really read them that fast. So hang on. Okay, I don't know. We're gonna let it go with that. So yes, Travis did what Travis does. I thought he looked a little bit smoother. I thought he looked a little bit had his top gear a little bit better. Maybe it was just a week one thing, no big deal. But he got 100 yards. Everybody contributed, and I think the guy that they took their eye off the most was Demarcus. So he did what he's supposed to do. He stepped up and he took advantage of that. And maybe next week it has to be Hardman, because maybe now they understand that what Demarcus can do, and clearly what he did this week. So maybe they're going to bracket him as well. Maybe they're going to do softer zones so that to try to protect against Sammy and Demarcus. In which case, Hardman's speed is what gives him the advantage there to take it on. Norman, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Good to know that it sounds okay, because my meter's 0. It looks like the mic isn't even working. It's been bugging me. Some updates with YouTube have kind of thrown things off a little bit. So really, really impressed with Demarcus today. Want to see him do it again before I'm going to back off of, hey, he still needs to push. But Tyreek Hill had some interesting social media comments after the game about comments that they did it without him, and he feels they're the best receiver group in the league. Hard to argue with him. The team they're going to play next week might have an argument, but it's definitely a sign of maturity for Mahomes to be able to stand inside the pocket and not do his ad-lib thing, his break the pocket and running around using his athleticism. It's one thing for that, but it's also another thing because the other guy has to step up as well. I thought it was a really great thing. Saw all three of those big receivers. And quite frankly, Sammy Watkins had 13 targets. They were all over him. A couple were misfires. Mahomes didn't look, outside of the second quarter, Mahomes did not look himself. So I think it was good what they were able to do, but we can't fool ourselves that he's back to 100% because he's nowhere close. I think it's going to be a little bit. So, overall on the day, that second quarter was enough to win. I don't know that that's going to be true next week. And we'll talk about next week, as we go through. I'll do the normal videos this week of film room, hopefully for Wednesday. It all depends when I get a hold of the film. So it could be Thursday. Just keep that in mind. And then obviously the pregame, the game plan video will be on Friday. And again, be stacked accordingly. I think they got to take it easy on him. I think the bigger concern, and you saw Cam Irving get beat early as soon as he came in. I think he did settle down some, but it's still a concern. Don't know how bad Fisher is. The fact that they thought he could go and then he didn't, I don't know. Couple of updates here that I just got. Let me give you guys these. You might even have seen them earlier. Currently, there is a slight injury report. Damian Williams, knee contusion. LaShawn McCoy, ankle. And then Fisher's groin. Okay, so just those three. Knew about everybody but McCoy. I wasn't aware of that one. So that's why we saw Darrell Williams and then Darwin Thompson in to close the game. So Fish is a big injury. We want to see what that comes. Chad, you're absolutely right. They do need Eric Fisher. Uden had a big game last year. He's still there. They can get pressure even with Fisher in the game. So Irving's at a severe disadvantage there. I am concerned about that. It is what it is. You can't rush him. A groin's difficult. A lineman can't do anything without irritating a groin. You just have to take it easy, take time off, and let it heal. That's just the way that it goes. You hope you can get him back. As for Williams and McCoy, I have no information about how severe their injuries are, but clearly they had trouble today. The Raiders were looking for the run. They were, and give Raiders credit, they were able to stop the run. I think on the day, let me look at the game plan here or the game sheet. 1.4 yards a carry on the day. not good. They have to figure that out too, because at some point, teams are going to allow you to run and try to take even more away, play better zones. The Raiders came out and they played cover 0 right away. Donnie Couch, I will get to that. Absolutely. Thank you for that. And thanks for throwing a couple of bucks. Appreciate it. Folks, I've done a lot of new t-shirts lately. If a lot of people have asked how to support the channel. If you want to support me and the channel, go grab a t-shirt. Any of the ones that you like. I got some more coming, especially the fullback type stuff. So we'll have new designs out. I'm working with somebody that's helping me out on that because I'm not the greatest designer. And we'll get to defensive adjustments here in a minute, Donnie. But we have to see just how the nature of those injuries are to LaShawn and Damian. But this is why you have 4 running backs. This is why Darrell and Darwin are still on the roster. That's why you didn't see signing the veteran mean that you moved somebody along. You want to be able to hit those holes. And teams are going to use what the Raiders did to try and thwart them. You saw what the coverage did early. The Raiders came out and they played tight. Aggressive, tried to hide as much as they could. I think Mahomes caught on to it there in that second drive. But showing 0 and dropping 1, single high safety, that's the way that teams have to play them. That's what the Patriots did with good effect. Pudge, thank you. I appreciate it. That's nice of you to do. So I think smart teams are going to do that more often. I think they're going to see that more. Can the Ravens really cover that well? That's the question to me. I know they can pressure well, so maybe they show it. Especially, it looked like Reader to me had some issues there when they were showing the A-gap stuff. When you have linebackers standing on both sides of you and you're trying to snap the ball, that can be nerve-wracking. I think he's got to improve at deciding where they're going and getting it done. Then again, I don't know that they made a whole lot of impact right there. There was a couple of plays, but I don't think as much as they intended it to be. So the Ravens might back off of them. They don't have Mosley anymore. So that might not be the way that they think is the best to attack it. So, we'll see how the Ravens come along. But you're going to see more of that. You're going to see more aggression on the receivers, especially after what they did today. I think what Robinson and Hardman and Kelce showed you, obviously along with Mahomes, is that zone defenses, unless you're dropping 7 or 8 guys, nickel, dime, 5 and 6 defenders in the back, that's not enough. They're going to run through zones. They're going to attack the gaps, and they're going to do it with success. Now, there are teams that will say, okay, fine, I'll drop 7. I'll drop 8, and I'll give you a 3-man rush, and we'll just see what happens. I don't think that's going to pay off either, though. So I think the aggression, the way that the Patriots did, the way the Raiders started today, I think that's what you're going to see more often, especially from teams that are better equipped. So look for that. Again, it will all depend on keeping Mahomes upright and keeping that foot in good shape. I really want to see what they do. I know a couple people have already asked me about Rankin. I don't think he's in any position yet to really make a difference, to make a contribution. I doubt that he even understands the offense yet. It's so fast. It's a tough one. So it is what it is. Whatever they can do to patch it together, I'm sure they will. They'll take the 5 best guys, and that I'm confident of. So that said, hey, Sammer, thank you. Appreciate that. And you said that Robinson proves he deserves the wide receiver 3. Today he did for sure. I think Hardman was definitely pushing for that as well, and I think that's great. The competition between those guys to be who's going to make up for Tyreek. That's awesome. And again, if that penalty hadn't gone, you'd have had Hardman at over 100 yards and to go with Robinson and Kelce all over 100 yards. There can't be any problem with that. Maximo, I agree with you. I do want to see them use Darrell this week if Damian and LaShawn are not able to play. And if one of them makes it back, that's great. I mean, that's the thing. When Andy said when they signed LaShawn that they see him as a starter as well as Damian, having both of them, that's going to be great in the long run. Again, if you just joined the stream, lots of people coming in. If you want to see my takes on Anchor Steam, I'll have that over on the podcast channel. And I just did a great intro on how to start homebrewing. That's over on the podcast channel. Went up today, earlier this morning. So I think they're in good shape. Pringle was active. I saw him flash a couple times. I don't know that they need him yet, but that's always a possibility. A lot of you guys are pumped for Darwin. Yeah, I think a steady diet of Darwin and Darrell can actually pay some dividends. We saw Darrell catch the ball very well last year. We've seen Darwin catch it well this preseason. So that's always the thing is Andy wants those backs to be able to do everything. And I think that I feel comfortable with both of them lining up next week. It'll just be whether the opportunity is there or not and whether they can capitalize. Now, Donnie asked earlier about defensive adjustments. They started poorly. I thought they were a little bit rattled. The decision to leave Reggie, I feel like Reggie Ragland not being active, it's one thing if he doesn't start. But not even having him active makes me think that you're not willing to risk him getting injured because you're going to use him in a trade. That's my personal opinion. I don't have any insider info. My contacts do not have any inside info, but that's the way it looks to me. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I like Reggie. You guys all know that. And I think other teams like him more than the Chiefs do because I think they want a little more straightforward run attack. But you saw that the Raiders were able to run. What was their total? Jacobs, just short of 99 yards. The guy ran for 8 yards a carry today. And yeah, he had that super long one, that 50-yarder, but that's what he can do. And that's, I think, where you saw him fell short. Ken Wood, thanks for the donation. My favorite Oktoberfest beer is the Avery one that I can't remember off the top of my head, the name of it. Avery Brewing in Longmont, Colorado. Might be the Reverend's the barley wine. I'll have to think of that. I'll try to remember, Ken, and I'll look it up and I'll have it for you tomorrow night. Make sure you come to the stream tomorrow night. But defending the run, there were a couple of times that Darren Lee was just caught out of position, biting hard on play action. That one, what was it? Was it a pivot route? I can't remember. No, it was the motion. I think that was away from Waller, and then Waller came back the other way. Kaiser, Ken, you're absolutely right. That's my favorite one. Boulder, not Longmont. I've been there, Josh, but either or, whatever. It's right in the middle on the diagonal highway, so I don't think it much matters. But Kaiser, that's the name of it. Absolutely, Ken. You have to be able to defend that run. But when you see what they did today and they get out to that lead, it really kind of cripples the run. So I can see where they're coming from. Minkah Fitzpatrick is one of the players that I'm thinking of. I still think that there's options out there for a couple of veterans. And I won't call Fitzpatrick a veteran yet. But leaving Reggie leads me that way. And I think you saw why. Breeland started out and got beat up early. I thought he came on later. Again, when he was able to do what he does best. That play in the end zone, the wide receiver was not paying attention. That's as much a bad play on his part. It was a great play on Breeland's part, but good for him. I thought Ward stepped up today. I thought he looked better. I didn't see as many mistakes. Now, maybe I will when I watch all 22. I don't know, but I thought he played pretty solid. Late in the game, there was a couple of plays where they switched. And Ward went on the inside, on the interior receiver. I'm not sure if it was Hunter Renfrow, but I think that it was. My notes just say slot. And when I'm trying to type notes as fast as I can, sometimes I don't get names in there. But Ward went in on the slot, and Fuller played not only farther out. It was a trip set spread trip on one side, but Fuller was able to back up and play from a zone. That's what Fuller does best. That's what Fuller and Breeland did in Washington to great effect, and both of them had their career years there. So that's leaning towards their strengths. And Ward got to jam and got to play man coverage, which is leaning towards his strength. And I love that. And especially when you think about guys like we saw in Hunter Renfrow today, and players like Julian Edelman, they make their money on quick changes of direction, right? So being able to disrupt, get a hand on, and play tight helps the defense control that. It also means that if they get disrupted at all, timing goes off. And especially for Brady, you're going to see that kind of mismatch where they're not going to complete as many passes. So especially on the interior slot guys, pivot guys, the really quick guys that change direction in a flash, playing man is an advantage, and I hope that Ward can live up to that. Mika Fitzpatrick is a slot corner. That's his best spot, in my opinion. So that would cover that as well if you eventually want to get Ward back out there. But I want to see if they experiment playing Fuller outside more and off more. You saw a lot of mixed coverages today. Some man on one side, some zone on the other, even some zone with man under today. And I think that can go pretty well. Casey Masterpiece, you have a good point. Fitzpatrick played safety in college well. I think he can be a free safety well because I think he sees the field pretty well. I don't like him at strong. That's where the Dolphins have been lining him up, and he's been getting just beat up. And you have Thornhill at free. I thought Thornhill's best maneuver today is that I never saw his name come up once. I don't have him in my notes, and that means he was doing his job and not getting beat. And if I remember correctly, he was not the leading tackler. No, he was not. Your top leading tacklers were Breeland, Fuller, and Hitchens, which it's never a good thing if somebody in your secondary is leading in tackles, but it does say that they were targeting the outsides and not targeting the middle where Thornhill was roaming. I thought you saw a little bit of confusion still. Honestly, on the part of Tyrann Mathieu, I'll have to go back and check that. But I felt like Thornhill did his job. I felt really good about him today, and I think that helps everybody else. So, yes, there's still other players on the horizon. There could be somebody brought in, but I like the way that they pulled it together. And local, you're right. Breeland made a nice recovery. The whole defense did. They still didn't get enough pressure for me. Jones got a sack. I think Tano did at the end. And they pushed the pocket pretty well, but I didn't see as much penetration as I want. I didn't see as much disruption as I want. I still feel like they're playing into this scheme, and they're going to get there. So, but Maximo, you're right. Yeah, holding any team to 10 points is good to get a win. So the defense is doing its job so far. They did give up a lot of yards, but I don't care. Everyone's going to tell you that they're the worst team in the league last year. That's based on yards. If they can change that, okay, great. If they cannot give up points, that's what I care about. So I feel like they're off to a good start. What else? Looking through my notes, I talked about Lee. Just in general, I felt like the defense did a whole lot less shifting this game. And I don't know if that helped or hurt, because a couple of plays I thought they got taken advantage of because they weren't showing anything different. But clearly they were not doing as much disguise as they did in week one. I think that will probably change against Lamar Jackson because you want to confuse him as much as possible. I didn't like the dropout that I showed in the film room last week with Fuller dropping from the slot corner position all the way back to a deep half. That should not be done again, I don't think. So what else do I have here in my notes? I'm looking down. Excuse me, you guys. Another note on Robinson, like how strong he played. Not just on the big catch, but just in general. He used his body, used his size to good effect. Lee showed up a couple times in the run game late after they started to try to reestablish the run. I thought Lee took on some blocks a couple of good times. Obviously Hardman. I thought Damian Wilson was a little scrappy, but I think he didn't play as well today as he did last week, and that's okay. I thought he was still generally on the positive side, as well as Hitch. I thought Alex Okafor was in position a lot. Just the playmaking that Ward and Breeland showed you was opportunistic and good for them. I think that feeds them, and I think that helps the whole defense take a step forward, and I'm looking forward to that part. So another rung in the ladder. I see a lot of questions about sausage. Yeah, I think so. Every time I say give them the ball, they never listen. So I'm not going to say it until it happens. But if it does, let's watch very carefully. I'll probably have a new shirt or something up about the fullbacks this week. So give that a shot if you have any interest. That said, I'll have the Q&A tomorrow night, and we'll go through all the questions. So if you're here tonight, 320 people, I appreciate you guys being here. Come back tomorrow night, and we'll do all the question and answer stuff, and I'll go through rung by rung because I'm just going off of my notes tonight because it's still raw. I'll rewatch before then, and you guys will watch, and we'll have a lot more topics to look at. So I think with that said, we'll probably call it a night right now. You guys let me know what you want. You can hit me on Twitter too. I'll be on later tonight after I do the editing. So thanks. Hope you guys enjoyed it. 2-0. Big opponent coming next week. But I will see you guys tomorrow night. And you all have a good one. Have a good Monday. It's another win. Talk to you later.